Hello and welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Who have we got as you're coming in? Let us know who's joining us.
Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Ollie. How you going?
I'm well,
Dorothy
thank you.
Keegan from Goulburn.
Goulburn, lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, we've got Clint from Hunter Central Coast.
Hey Clint.
How you doing, Denise?
Hi, Clint.
Hey, everyone. Danielle here from Castle Relay.
Hi Danielle, welcome.
Hey, Matt and Mel.
Hi, Ollie.
Who's that?
Let us
Got a
know
bit
if
of
you're
social
joining,
distancing
as
there,
you
Ollie.
join us, which relay you're from.
It's not.
I'm Hilly from
Julie from Goulburn.
Sorry, what was that? Kelly from?
Julie from Goulburn.
Oh, hi Julie, welcome.
Rosemary from Goulburn as well.
Oh, lovely. How's the weather down in Goulburn? I bet it's cold down there at the moment, isn't it?
A little bit.
We go.
Trevor from Casino.
Hey Trevor, welcome.
Hey, Brandon. Hey, Joe. It's Ollie. How are you?
How's life up in Casino?
Beautiful in Casino. Always beautiful in Casino.
Do you have a big relay in Casino?
Casino had one of the first relays in New South Wales. Yeah, for the size of Casino, we have a very good relay.
Excellent. I think we have to
We're
do a
heading
road
for
trip
our-
to Casino.
Yeah, 20 years next year.
Wow, fantastic. Do we have anyone else that hasn't told us where they're from?
Samantha here from Hornsby.
Hey,
Hi,
Sam.
Sam. How are
Hey,
you?
Good, thank you. Hi, guys.
And Julie from Hornsby as well.
Hey, Julie. Welcome.
Julie.
Hey,
And Anna
Ollie.
from Hornsby too.
Hey, Anna.
you?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Helen.
I'm here. I'm on a Zoom.
Is that a red thing, Helen?
Yes. I just got to work out. We need more mute. Why not?
So I think we have 40 people at the moment. Are you happy to start, Natalia? Rashmi?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that should be fine.
All right, I'm sure we'll get more people that are joining us as they come in, but we might start the ball rolling. I'm going to sit back a bit so you don't see the light. Hi everyone, and welcome to our second session in our Relay for Life webinar series. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we meet today, and I would also like to pay respect to elders past and present, and offer my acknowledgement and respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who are present. My name's Denise Daines. I work as a Community Relations Coordinator based in the Greater Western Sydney team, and I've been, I think it's 10-year team captain of the Hills Relay for Life. On behalf of myself, Rashmi, the rest of the working group, we would welcome you to this second in our Relay for Life webinar series, talking about virtual relays. This webinar series is really an opportunity to talk all things relay over the coming months. So whether you're a committee member, a participant, you're on the Relay for Life steering committee, or you work for the Cancer Council, we all share a passion for relay, and the forthcoming sessions aim to share our ideas and really to work together to keep our relays innovative and a great experience. So with that in mind, we'll be hearing from 3 relays across New South Wales that have held online relays. We'll also be having a live Q&A session where you can ask our panelists questions directly. And then at the end, we'll be introducing Menti, where we'll be asking for your feedback, and we want your suggestions for future webinar session content. So for today's session, I'll let our first speaker officially introduce our relays and panelists. But at the moment, we've already got 45 people on this call, so that's fantastic. Thank you very much. Hopefully, not only do we have the people across New South Wales joining us, but I know the committee from Bundaberg Relay in Queensland were planning to join us. So if you're there, Matt, welcome if you're from Bundaberg. I'd also like to let you know that we're recording this session today, and the link will be available to you afterwards. So if you don't want to be recorded, then please turn off your videos now. So that's it from me to start off with. I'd like now to hand you over to the wonderful Natalia Acha, who will be talking through some housekeeping, and will be managing the technical side of today's session. So thanks, I hope you enjoyed the session, and over to you, Natalia.
Thanks very much, Denise. Okay, so I have actually just muted everyone. I know there was a little bit of rustling before. Hopefully that's going to fix everything now. It's so good to see everyone again. Can I have a show of hands of who came along to the first webinar? Nice. Welcome back to everyone who was here. Wow, what was it, a month ago? And, you know, welcome to all the newbies as well. It's great to see you. For those that aren't very familiar with Zoom, I would just like to encourage you to have a play around with the settings. So it's different when it's on your phone or on your laptop, but you can actually play around with the view. So you can have a grid view where you can see everyone, or you can have a view where only the active speaker is speaking. Hopefully you're all able to also to see the PowerPoint presentation. And there is actually a chat function, which is I'm pretty sure down the bottom for those on laptop and the phone. I'd like to encourage you to please click onto that chat function. We will be doing quite a lot with it. Today there will be a live Q&A, and what we're doing is actually getting you guys to put in your questions as it comes to mind. After the end of each session, Rashmi will actually be inviting people to ask their questions directly to the panelist. Hopefully we'll try and answer all of the questions, but you know, in the interest of time, we might not be able to get to them all. However, yeah, definitely when you've got a question, don't wait till the end, just type it out, and you know, we'll hopefully try and get to it. So Denise did also make mention of Menti. A lot of people probably won't know what Menti even is, but if you have a separate device, it's basically an interactive platform using Internet Explorer, so another internet browser. It does work better if you have a separate device. So if you're on your mobile phone, you might want to borrow, you know, somebody else's phone. If you're on your laptop, you might want to have your phone nice and handy. We're not going to be using that until later towards the end of, you know, of this hour, and I'll give you a little bit more instructions about that. So another friendly reminder that, you know, this is a recorded session. If you don't feel comfortable having your video, feel free to turn it off. Otherwise, you know, I'd love to see your beautiful faces. I can tell who's interested in what we've got to say and who's not. And with that, I would like to now hand it over to one of our steering committee members, Mr. Danny Bromble himself. Feel free to unmute yourself, Danny.
Lucky you reminded me. Hi everyone, I'm Danny Bromble, and I'm a volunteer and member of the Relay for Life Steering Committee. I'm a cancer survivor of over 23 years, a father of 3, stepfather to 2, mad, passionate Relay for Life committee volunteer, I suppose you could say, advocate, and I've been volunteering for the Cancer Council now for well over 13 years. So thank you so much for joining us all today. We received such positive feedback from our first session and have taken on your suggestions and about making it a more interactive session. So get ready to get involved. As Denise mentioned, we're also going to be asking for your suggestions on future webinar content. We want to talk about what you want to know. So this will be done after we hear from all the 3 relay presentations that are going to follow myself. So today's session is about online virtual relays, and what does this mean? Essentially, it's adapting our physical event and streaming it live across social media so we can still participate in this amazing community event. With social distancing restrictions in place, it's offering quite a few challenges and limiting our physical events and how they take place. So some of our relays have adapted to this situation, and they've already been online. So we'll be hearing from them shortly. We'll be hearing from 3 of those particular relays that defied the odds and decided to host an online Relay for Life event in their local communities. They'll be talking about their experiences, challenges, and some of the hot tips for hosting something similar in the future. I'm sure there'll be a lot of knowledge and insight into what worked and what didn't work. So we're looking forward to hearing that. First up, we'll have Corowa Rutherglen Relay for Life. We're going to be joined by Christine Williams, who is the Cancer Council staff partner, and Julie Bartlett, the chair of the committee. They were one of the first ever relays nationally to go virtual on March 21, raising over their original budget. Woohoo! And what's more impressive is that this relay hadn't been around in the community since 2014. So that's an amazing result. Their presentation will be followed by Sutherland Shire Relay for Life. We're going to be joined by Rod Coy, OAM, who is co-chair of the committee, and Ollie Woolridge, who is the Cancer Council staff partner. Ollie and Rod will be talking about all things technology and fundraising for an online event, and we're looking forward to hearing their insights, in particular to the fundraising side of things. Lastly, we have Hills Relay for Life. We're going to be joined by Bev Jordan, who is the former chair of the committee, looking after social media and sponsorship, and Lynn Pike, also another former chair and looks after ceremonies. Lynn is also part of the Relay for Life steering committee. Hills has just last weekend held its 19th relay, and it was their first online relay. And we'll be talking about how to continue the success of their event virtually into the future, looking at virtual events, launches, and to engage the community who aren't physically able to attend the actual event. We'll be doing a live question and answer session after each of these relay presentations, so please ask your questions in the chat function, and Rashmi will invite you to ask our panelists for direct questions as well. That's it from me. I'm sure you're all wanting to hear from our relay, so I'm going to hand over back to Denise to take it from there.
Thanks, Danny. So let's start with Julie and Christine from Corowa Rutherglen Relay, who led the way globally in putting together the first ever virtual relay. Let's start with you, Julie. You're the chair of Corowa Rutherglen Relay. So before we actually talk about virtual relay, tell us how you went about re-establishing the committee after such a long break.
Thanks, Denise, and welcome everyone to this webinar. Thanks for tuning in this evening. First of all, I just wanted to make sure everyone knows where Corowa is as a start. So Corowa is a small town in the south of New South Wales. We're actually on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. So we have the beautiful Murray River running between us there, and we've got a population of about 6,000 people. So a little bit about my background and where I come into the picture with the relay is I was diagnosed with early stage breast cancer in 2011, and I went through all of the process of surgery and treatment and everything that comes with that. Then over those coming years, I suppose mentally it's always difficult to get over that cancer journey, and you know, just to realise or come to that realisation about getting your life back on track. And sort of over those coming years, I heard about the Corowa Relay for Life, and it was being held in 2014. And I decided to go along, and I took friends and family and just had an absolutely amazing time. Like, it was just fantastic. And I know everyone listening knows how fantastic they are. Many people have been dealing with Relay for Life for many, many years as part of the Cancer Council volunteering or staff. But for me, it was something new I hadn't been to before. And it just meant so much to me and my family, and I just got so much out of it, and I saw so many people in our community getting so much out of it as well. So that was a great event and my first time that I had been involved. In 2016, Corowa tried to run another Relay for Life, but because we are on the Murray River, there was flooding at that time, so that one was cancelled and didn't go ahead. Then in my own journey in late 2017, I found out that my cancer had come back. So I'm now metastatic or stage 4 or advanced, whatever word you want to use, with my breast cancer. And as you can see by the scarf, I'm actively going through treatment. And I thought, well, it's not only me. We're a small community where everyone knows everyone, and there's so many other people that had been going through cancer that I knew of, and also those that we had lost to cancer that had passed away. And I just felt that in my own journey, and I felt that it might be worthwhile for our community to go through and do it all again. So I contacted Wagga, Christine from Wagga, and just asked whether there was anyone looking at redoing it, how we would get it started. And she asked me to get some an idea about how many people might be interested in going on a committee. So I put out just to Facebook, use social media, and just put out on Facebook to some of the community groups, just to see how many people might be interested in being involved in pulling the Relay for Life back together again for our area. And I got about 20 people, so I was really pleased with that. So we got together and had our first meeting, and it was in that first meeting that we decided that we would incorporate Rutherglen within our Relay for Life as well. So we're on the New South Wales side of the Murray River, and Rutherglen's on the Victorian side. And Rutherglen's very big a tourist town in regards to wineries, and they've got a population of about 2,000. So we just felt that if we included Rutherglen within our relay as well, that we would be able to broaden our reach in regards to people coming along, and also, I suppose, getting access to those services and donations and everything that we would need. So we had a pretty fluid committee. It started, as I said, with about 20 people. In the end, actively, we probably had 8 or 10, and during the 12 months of pulling everything together, I suppose we lost a few and gained a few as well. So, yeah, that's just a bit of an overview of how Corowa Rutherglen Relay for Life came back to life, I suppose.
Okay, and so tell us how you adapted to the restrictions, because you had to do that at such short notice. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so our relay was due to go ahead on the Saturday, the 21st of March. And as we all know, sort of early March, coronavirus really started to take hold within our country. We could see that things were happening, and I suppose we were really alert to what the situation was. Really, the trigger for us that we were going to be in trouble was on Friday, the 13th of March, when the Grand Prix was cancelled. And the media were really all over it at that time. And then we heard that the Orange Relay for Life that was supposed to happen on the 14th of March was cancelled as well. So that was a week out for us for where we were going. It was a really difficult time, obviously, and I don't know, I just felt as a chairperson, I really felt responsible for our relay, just the amount of time and effort that everyone, the committee, the community, the stakeholders, the people that had supported us and sponsored us, and it was just like, I don't know, I just couldn't drop it. I just wanted to be able to do something. And I had had a lot of experience, or I have had a lot of experience in the past just with online technologies, with work and bits and pieces. So I had the idea of streaming it via Facebook. The situation was changing daily, so we had to be really, really flexible in that. And I contacted Christine and said, well, here's an idea. Instead of cancelling it, which we knew was the way it was going to look like going, maybe we can look at doing a virtual relay. She was 100% on board, and she just did an amazing job just pushing it up those ranks of the Cancer Council and sort of talking to everyone about what our ideas were and getting that approval to go ahead. And I think in that week, Christine and I probably had about 1,000 phone calls talking to each other. The other thing I needed was the commitment of our committee. So again, it was an idea I came up with, and the committee was just marvellous. You know, I've got so many new friends out of our committee, as all of you would know. You meet people that you'd never met before. And this was sort of like just a bit of an idea that I came up with, and they could have all turned around and said, look, Julie, no, it's not enough time, it's too hard, let's just drop it. Others are cancelling, we'll do the same. But they backed me 100%, and you know, it was just so worthwhile. We were so proud of what we achieved in the end.
Oh, you did an amazing job. So I should ask Christine, so what do you guys think were the 3 things that work best for your virtual relay?
Probably just following on what Julie said about the commitment of the committee and their ability to change and adapt so quickly. There was nobody that said, as Julie said, this is too hard. And as she said, there were so many phone calls between, you know, in that week, you know, the restrictions changed daily, they changed hourly, and at no point did anybody say this wasn't happening. They were always, how can we make this happen? So the commitment of the committee, led and fiercely led by Julie, was just the #1 positive. The second one was the support of the Cancer Council. So when you consider we're facing a worldwide pandemic, and here's little Corowa Rutherglen, Christine Williams at the bottom of the food chain, and through Ricky Puata and Brenna, it went right up to the top. And at no stage did the ELT go, oh, seriously, we've got other things to worry about. They actually took it and they looked at it and they backed us. And they didn't have to. I mean, there were so many other things going on, you know, from a big corporation, from an economic Australia, you know, worldwide. And they took the time to actually back us and dot the I's, cross the T's, and make sure that everything that we did was done properly. And that was just incredible. But you've got to remember that we didn't get the actual go-ahead until the Wednesday, and the event was on the Saturday. So there was a lot of phone calls, but so much positive energy and just so much commitment. Then the other main thing after the committee and the Cancer Council were the ceremonies. We had an opening ceremony, we had a closing ceremony, but the most beautiful part was quite a tearjerker was the Hope ceremony. I mean, the fact that we were at the Corowa RSL Club and somebody was videoing it on their mobile phone while somebody sang in the background, and they had photos of people who'd gone through the cancer journey, and they did close-ups of all the Hope bags. There wasn't a dry eye in the place. It was just like you were there. And despite that we were 1.5 metres away from each other and there was next to no people except for the committee, you really felt really connected. It was quite a tearjerker. And I think the fact that they were able to put the most important parts of Relay, as in the ceremonies, into this compact Facebook event was such a positive.
Oh, absolutely. You did an amazing job, guys. So I suppose the last question I want to ask is, what are the key learnings that you both took from the event?
Well, I think, as you can see from the photos, it wasn't polished, but it was passionate. So the videoing could have been a lot better and more professional, but keep in mind, again, we didn't get the go-ahead to the Wednesday. We're looking at Corowa with 6,000 people, Rutherglen with 2,000. So time was limited, and also access to that kind of equipment. We couldn't access, you know, professional videography in 3 days in such a small environment. The second one was we actually opened up the Facebook page to all the teams. So we had people who were live streaming, you know, a guy that got his chest waxed or head shaves, or there was another guy running a marathon and he was checking in. From a technical point of view, we just needed to do the tweaking of the Facebook functionality a bit better so that everybody who was watching it could also see all the interaction that was happening. And the silent auction, we had some great prizes. Dare I say the first prize was a cruise, but we would have been able to get a lot more money for the silent auction had we been able to, or had we promoted it more thoroughly. But again, we're on a time limit. We had from Wednesday to Saturday to get the word out that we're actually running a virtual relay. So I think with more time, we could have really promoted the silent auction and all the fabulous prizes. And finally, with no disrespect to the committee, myself, Julie and everybody else who spoke, probably if we had an MC, would have made it a little bit more polished, which is along the same lines as if we had been able to have access to far better videography. But can I just cap it up and say, a target of 35,000, we cracked 40. This is a small town that didn't have a relay for, 6 years. We gained national and international, you know, exposure. We were contacted by, you know, the most obscure places that watched it. And as I said, it may not have been super polished, but it was passionate. We had Facebook, we had a mobile phone, we had determination, and that totaled success. And we're so proud of what we did. And they were just an amazing committee, an amazing community to work with, and absolutely my highlight of 2020.
Oh, Look, ladies, on behalf of everyone, you should be so proud of what you did. You, as you say, you smashed the target and you're absolute trailblazers. And that's why we're having this seminar tonight, because of you guys. So clap from everyone, I think. Well done. Well, I might pass on to Rashmi just to see if we've got any questions from the floor.
Hi everyone. So look, we just welcome you. Or does anyone have any questions? Feel free to, just say that I've got a question and put it in the chat box, and then take yourself off mute, and we can just ask Julie and Christine. I think your stories are inspirational. Like if you look at the comments that we're receiving here, which I'm not sure if you've seen, but we've got your drive and determination is amazing, and great work, Julie, and amazing job, awesome job, inspiring, amazing, courageous and determined effort. So yeah, I think everyone's just in awe, really. Yeah, there is some, there's some really good feedback in here as well. We've got Jenny Dowell. I'm not sure where you're from, but she was saying here with stage 4 cancer, sometimes you feel a little bit forgotten in Relay for Life. Sometimes you don't have the feeling that you can call yourselves a survivor. So their relay is introducing a mauve sash with the purple print of the logo and the words "Living with Cancer." So look, that's a great idea. It's something that we can definitely take back at Cancer Council as well. So thank you for sharing that.
All right, so if there's no questions, we might...
Can I just say that I'm really glad we got on first, because as you'll see, the next one's a little bit more polished than ours, but
as I said, you guys led the way. You're the reason that we went ahead, so take the glory, guys. You did great. All right, so we might move on. Thank you, Corowa Rutherglen. So let's move on to, I think the third, after globally, I think America came next, and then third in the world, I believe, was Sutherland Shire Relay. So let's hand over to Rod and Ollie.
Okay, well, thanks very much, girls. That really was inspirational, both Julie and Christine. And I'm not saying that patronising, I'm saying it because I mean it. Your whole area now knows that you've put the effort in and you didn't let the thing get you down. You made the most of a situation in 3 days, and all credit to you. And it set the ball rolling for the rest of us to do what we did. So well done, girls. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through this, because we are looking at the state and different size relays. And we're not trying to say that all online has to be the same, or it has to be as extravagant as what perhaps Sutherland and Hills were, but it has to occur, I think. I think it's really important. That's why I'm so impressed with what you've done, girls. I'm going to be, just to give you a few ideas, just so that you don't think we spent a lot of money on this. It cost us $650 to put our relay online. That's including pizzas, I think, there, Ollie, and he's sitting next to me. We had about 600 participants, and we ended up making about 130K. This is our 19th year. It's my 17th as chair. So we've had about 3,700 views. We're going to show a video now, but what I want you to do, if you wouldn't mind, I'd ask anyone watching this, could you watch the elements of relay that you see in this short video? Just watch the things that happen in relay every year that come into this, because it'll be part of what we'll talk about in a second. So here's the video. Let's have a look. Stuck in a rut. You can't get out. There's too much causing you down. No cash, no dime, no self-esteem. They all taking and not giving. If you got a head, you should use it. Opportunity, don't you lose it. Climb over the wall, break down all the doors when your future calls. Don't let nothing hold you down, nothing hold you down, Don't let nothing hold you down, nothing hold you down.
Good morning, Sutherland Shire Relay.
goes inside, don't forget them. Keep your head up high. Yes, the future's bright. Keep your head up high. Don't let nothing hold you down. Nothing hold you down, down. Don't let nothing hold you down. Nothing hold you down, down.
Okay, so the reason I asked if everybody could look at the elements that they could see of relay in that video was because we at Sutherland, and to be honest, Corowa did exactly the same thing. They picked out what we call, and the important word is triggers. And they're the things that are part of our every year relay, the things that we do every single year. The closer you can get to those triggers, and the more that they can be like each year, the more the experience becomes real. And I'm looking at things like the 3 MCs with the 3 MCs on the day. The horn was the same one we used last year. The piper was the lead piper who always comes. It was located on the site, okay, at the time of day that those things occurred. The start occurred at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was taped. The candlelight was in it. The banquet which we have with Elvis, of course, was in it. The American guy that speaks, and he's done it for about 19 years, Ollie. He's got a voice that drives you crazy, and he's a lovely guy. He's very good, actually. But his voice always starts our relay, so his voice was in it. So it was a big thing in our online, and I know you did it too, Corowa, and I imagine most people would think that way. We're just saying that, yes, we agree. Those triggers in online relay are very, very important. Ollie.
Yeah, now we might go to the next slide quickly. And I thought today, guys, I was going to handle some technology points because I think that it's already come to light from the half an hour we've been on this, that there's different levels of technology that exist within these virtual relays. And I think that's perfectly fine. I think a really big point is also we had time on our hands. We had about 5 or 6 weeks to do this. So Corowa, Rutherglen, like, what a fantastic job you guys did. If you want to just go to the next slide now. There's just some points here that I want to bring up, and I thought I'd break it into 2 separate parts: needs and wants. What do we need to put on a relay? And Corowa, Rutherglen, I think, hit all 4 of these. So you need a social media account or a video sharing platform. It's an important note, and something that we run into is that not everyone has a social media account, a Facebook account. So if you can start a YouTube profile and have the video up there, that's always a good idea. You need a camera. Obviously, we had plenty of cameras on level 6 at Cancer Council that day. However, we heard that an iPhone does suffice. So whatever you have available to you in regards to that, that'll do. If we want to go to the next slide quickly. So I guess if that's what you need, there's things that are wants as well. We can always do with more technology. And I think with more technology, the ability to edit between live and pre-recorded packages comes into play. So having a live studio to have your MCs or anchors placed in is a real luxury, but it does make for a far more dynamic broadcast. Some social media aggregation software. So this would be a piece of software that allows your participants that are out there in the community throughout the day to send in imagery so that they can be featured in your broadcast. Multiple locations is always a luxury. It adds to, again, the dynamic nature of the broadcast. And then a broadcast room. and more importantly, a broadcast room filled with people that know how to use the equipment. We've been very lucky at Sutherland to have 3 individuals on our committee that are AV technicians in their professional life. And once we decided to pivot this relay into a virtual setup, they offered their time, skills, and equipment for free. So if we just go to the next slide quickly, this is just a very simple rule that I would go by if I was to do this again. More technology, more live activity. You have the ability to execute live footage. Less technology, more pre-recorded activity. Now there's an asterisk next to that, and that is as long as you have the time to do so. Corowa, Rutherglen didn't have that, so they were on an iPhone on the day. Now I think if you have less technology available to you, what I would recommend is months before the relay, put a bit of a playlist together, get a bit of an idea as to what kind of content you would want within the relay, and start to execute that in the community, whether it's interviewing the mayor, interviewing team captains, getting sponsors on board, listening to committee members, songs, dances, entertainment, any of that kind of stuff. If you pre-record that and then use some very simple video editing technology or software that comes in any of the computers sold off the shelves these days, that's a far safer way to execute a virtual relay with less technology. I know I speak quickly, so if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Rod, you wanted to talk about fundraising?
No, I'm just going to lead off from what you're saying there, Ollie. Look, it can be daunting. If I was in a relay outside of Sydney, or in where you know, it's a daunting proposition putting on an online relay. People worry about it. I think what we concern ourselves with is what we haven't got. And we think, well, we can't do it because we haven't got this, haven't got that. I think we've got to look the other way. I think we've got to look at what we have got and what we can do. And look, Fred, what we've got 3 terrific things. We've got a lot of history normally in most relays. So there's videos from last year and the year before and stuff. So we've got all that subject matter. What else have we got? We've got the elements of relay that we've referred to in the slide. And also we've got interested relayers. We've got people who are ready to see whatever we want to put on for them. So that we've got an audience that's positive. But we've got a lot of stuff we've got an iPhone these days. So it doesn't have to be a big extravaganza. It's just got to be something that you can do, looking at those elements and you know, looking at the fact that we've got all this history that we can tap onto. I just move on to connection now. Put the challenges is up, the major challenges. We're looking at before I go on to that, if I could just say that when we're looking at connection, we're looking at trying to connect participants, committee and the Cancer Council. That's what we're trying to do. And we do it under the thing called relay. If we put that effort in and we do that, long term, we talk fundraising, it's a long-term proposition. It becomes, people firstly appreciate the fact that we're giving of our time. We're keeping it happening for the year. We're not just going to say we can't do it and it's not on. We're putting that effort in. And I think by doing that, we win the hearts of people. And if we win the hearts, I reckon the money will flow in the years to come because of this sort of effort that we're putting in a tough time. And relay can go on. Ollie, you were going to talk a little bit about the raffle as well.
Yeah, so guys, something that I really found challenging throughout the flipping this into a virtual event is that, particularly through COVID times, is that individuals couldn't come into contact with each other, sell raffle tickets. I heard some exciting news last week that Cancer Council's about to really make a big play with an online raffle setup. So I guess at this time, anyone that's interested in online raffles, just watch this space, because I know that that's going to become available to us in a short period of time. And from all reports, it's quite an effective way to sell raffle tickets during these times. You want to go to the next slide, Matt?
Next slide, go to learnings. Okay, the understanding the importance of relay, I think that all comes down to the value that's placed on it by the Cancer Council, the reps, as well as by the committee. I think if we see it as serious enough to put on an online relay, I think they'll see the fact that it's important. If we make it important to us, it's important to them. That's the first thing. I don't think online can ever totally substitute. It can, as a tool for fundraising, I don't think it can ever totally substitute a relay, because basically what I said there with the triggers, we're triggering to a real event. I think if we did that a few years in a row, we'd probably find that that we're not getting the survivors walking past each other and giving them high fives and looking into the eyes and the things that we do at relay and candlelight, for example, the emotional, the event where all the people are together. So I think it's always going to be an assistance or a help. Now, you and I were talking about that earlier, Ollie, about the real value in the online experience and the learnings we've had. Basically, we're now at a place where we can connect not only teams across a relay, but we've been looking at connecting relays through the state and going to, even like America. We went to America. That's all now going to be quite something that can happen in most relays.
Yeah, a lot of learnings. I did just want to point out a couple of points here. The sponsorship packages, we in fact, when we flipped this relay over, we approached all of our sponsors and worked out a new sponsorship agreement. And what I did was in fact bundle the 2 years together so that they saw some more value in it. And also what I found from a fundraising point of view is that a lot more funds were coming through the front end of the website. There was less cash moving hands within the community. Far more funds were in fact coming through website, web pages, fundraising platforms. So I think to promote the team's ability to send that out to their networks is really important. And then Rod, you were, just to finish off, you were saying thinking outside the box, getting teams to come up with some new ideas. I think.
Yeah, I think the fact that the teams have seen this online now, and as they see it at different places, of course, I think they're going to be also quite excited. I mean, I'm excited. You are, I know that, about the possibility of online elements of online coming with us when we do relay, and when we have. If we have another COVID-19 or some other disaster, then yeah, sure, it's a substitute. But there are things that can come forward. And I think you might mentioned it, Danny, and I thought it was a really good point about people who are too ill to come to relay in hospital or wherever they are. We're now looking at those things as being possible. Yeah. So the online experience is a very good learning experience, Ollie.
Yeah.
Guys, I might just jump in here because I do want to, I know there's a couple of questions and we're running quite tight on time. So Rashmi, do you want to ask some of the questions that have been posed?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Denise. And thanks to Ollie and Rod for talking about your relay. There's definitely some amazing work that's done. So just in the chat here, what we do have is first up, we've got Danny Bromble. If you want to come on board, unmute yourself and you've got 2 questions there to ask Ollie and Rod.
Guys, I was just interested in the survivor carers. How did you engage? What were there any challenges? And what were the outcomes?
Do you mean the survivors carers walk, Danny?
Yeah, or how did you engage them in that online process? Whether it was through a walk or.
Okay, so Danny, very quickly, and I'll keep it simple. Any survivor and carer that registered through the website, like they would do otherwise, they all receive their survivors and carers sashes, they receive their survivors and carers pins, and they also received their hope bags, like all the other participants. So what we did there was we packed up the bags ourselves, and then we had committee members drop the individuals' packs to their home addresses. We really wanted to make sure that those individuals, those VIP guests, still felt like they were part of relay. Rod spoke about triggers. We spoke about triggers every day in the 6 weeks leading up to this. What do we need to make sure that we offer the participants so that they still feel those relay feelings?
Okay. And what was
we did have that lab. Sorry, Danny.
What type of feedback did you get back from survivors and carers? Were they really pleased, engaged? I know it's something new. Obviously, it's a challenge and how we do that.
Can we get that, did you?
Yeah. So we got really positive responses, Danny. If I was to do it again, I'm going to refine my way in which how I communicate with them. It's probably a generalisation, but I think science might back it up that survivors and carers are generally an older population, older demographic. So this new learning of technology came on a little slower for them. So I worked with our CPC partner to go into different partnered organisations in the community to promote the event, but certainly learning how to communicate with them more effectively is something I'll work on for next time, definitely.
Sounds great.
So Sorry, I might just jump in because I'm really conscious of trying to finish this thing on time. And say, look, you guys did an amazing job. You definitely led the way in a very slick production with amazing participation, and also your fundraising is just was fantastic. And also, I think we can learn a lot from you in terms of what you did with the sponsors. I think you need to talk more about that, Ollie, down the track. But I think we should probably move on, otherwise no one's going to get their dinner tonight. So thank you guys, you did an amazing job.
Pleasure.
And I'd like to now move on to our last relay, which I'd like to introduce two women who I think between them have close to 30 years Relay for Life experience. So to talk about Hills Relay from Home, I'd like to introduce Lynn Pike and Bev Jordan. Ladies, over to you.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about how Hills Relay for Life made the move to a virtual rather than a regular event. Bev will then expand on some of the key features, and I will conclude by discussing some of the possible future uses of these features in our relays. So how did we come to go virtual? Well, due to the restrictions on gatherings and social distancing rules because of the coronavirus, our chair, James Butler, and the committee sadly but reluctantly made the decision that we would have to cancel our event. Then as we went into isolation, we began using technology more to communicate, and we were truly inspired by the Corowa Rutherglen virtual relay. I'll repeat again, it's amazing what they did with little time and resources. I, for example, started to think it'd be a good idea to have some form of a virtual or online format for the candlelight. But I had very little idea to how to make that happen and hadn't taken it any further when one of our teams, International Productions, and its leader Denise Staines, and her husband Adrian, proposed that they could offer us the technology and the staff to produce our own virtual relay. A most generous offer, particularly as we had no budget to run this event. In the Skype meeting that followed, the committee came on board and the decision was made. Hills Relay for Life was back on in a virtual form. A small subcommittee was formed and a program of events was put together to cover 4 hours. This slide shows you the program that was posted on Facebook and emailed to participants. It was a mixture of the pre-recorded segments and on the day live participation. And you'll see a lot of those elements there, as Rod mentioned about his relay. It included things, the people that we would normally see at our relay and elements of our regular relay. Now here's a quick video to give you a snapshot of our event.
Welcome to the 2020 Hills Relay for Life.
Good afternoon everyone, and welcome to our very first virtual relay.
It's Relay for Lifetime!
Welcome everybody, virtual relay, how exciting is this?
And welcome to the virtual Hills Relay for Life bake-off.
Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in the flesh for a date SCOM in 2021. Thank you all so much for who have donated.
You were my rock, you were my shield. This space you leave, no one can feel. You held the room, you cast a spell. You'll always be.
One of the highlights of the day was our interaction with our teams via Bev's news feed. So it's over to Bev now to explain that a bit further.
As Ollie was saying earlier, when you're doing a big event, the problem is how do you get content? Content is king, and you need a lot of that. Unlike Corowa and Rutherglen, I mean, you had 4 days and 8,000 people to work from. We had a couple of weeks and we have 140,000 residents in our Shire. So we had a lot of people to help us. one of the things is planning, as Ollie said, was getting out messages to team captains to say, this is what we're doing. We need you to send us things. We need you to send us pre-shout outs. We need you to send us photos. We need you to send us videos before the event, and we need to send videos on the day. And that's easy if you're sending a 10-second shout out to do it on your phone and send it in. But we wanted to get stuff on the day. So we emailed instructions to people to how to use WeTransfer. So a lot of things came out from that. So the little videos came out and were sent in various ways, but the bigger videos came out via WeTransfer. So WeTransfer worked well for people who weren't even technologically savvy, which is me and a few other people. Our following slide is from the Wesley Walkers, who jumped on board and did a shout out beforehand, but also on the day.
I'm Harvey Weir.
And I'm Kay Weir.
And we both walk for Wesley Walkers, which is part of the Wesley Uniting Church. Wesley Uniting Church has been involved in the Hills Relay for Life for many years as a supporter of the event.
And so we also asked for photographs as well and other items. Now, some of the things that we set up was we got the Rory bear suit, the bear, and we were sent lots of videos beforehand, but also on the day, and lots of photographs on the day. One of the other sections we had was a cooking section. We also set up teams to take themselves pictures of them walking on the day. So those are photographs of the Crestwood team. There are the Seroptimus International, who always do our survivors and carers walk. We got people to take photos of them actually watching it on the television as well. But that was it was asking people specifically to take photos on the day, during the day, and send them in, which fortunately they did. We did lots of pre-Facebook please. And mobile phones were used. And in some of our live feeds, we used mobile phones. And these are two well-known bananas that also use their mobile phones. And did you make the chocolate brownies or did you go for banana cake?
Oh, banana cake? I don't know what you're saying. No way. The brownies were nice.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I slipped up there. So some things went really, really well, and some things didn't go according to plan at all. So we did a bit of a run through before the actual broadcast day and found that Nina's Zumba and DJ Tony's retro disco, asking people to send in requests, which was another way we thought would get people involved. Actually using the commercial video shut down Facebook. So we had to think on the run and change our program actually on the day. So Zumba Nina went to a Zoom session and DJ Tony had to quickly change his event into not requests, but actually a trivia through the decades, a music trivia through the decades, which people then text messaged him answers to, which was a great way of connecting to people who were part of our virtual relay and bringing people from the outside in. Obviously, they were also sent in stuff too. The other thing that failed that we tried to set up sponsor shout outs with our major sponsors, our purple sponsors. And in the end, they just didn't happen. So we actually shouted out on the days ourselves. We did our own shout outs for them. One sponsor who sponsors one of our most popular sections, which is the Dog Day, on the Sunday, and as Roy was saying, Rod was saying, you really want to keep those special sections that people love, and the dog section is something that people love. So that was a big part of our virtual relay. Caddyville Pets came on board. They provided a video of how to look after your pets. The Norwest Thunderdogs did a fantastic session that they filmed and sent us in a film clip, which people loved. And we also got a special offer from Kellyville Pets. So that didn't give us as much traction as we'd hoped. That a lot of people used it, but didn't give us much money. But Kellyville Pets ended up donating money, which was really, really good. So that was, we learned a lot from that. So key learning points. One of the things that we will do is more videos in the lead up to Relay. We will video more at pre-events and interview people about why they relay and what they love about Relay. And we'll do more team and sponsor shout outs on Facebook. So we did learn a lot from going virtual. Over to Lynn.
Thank you. We feel that there are plenty of aspects of the virtual relay that we could probably use in future to enhance our relays. One of the main things was the live streaming of highlights. So for instance, you could stream the opening lap with your survivors and carers, maybe the cooking demonstration, or other engaging things that you have happening during the day. Also, a news feed on the hour might be a good way to put that out on Facebook and entice people to come to your event if they haven't already, if they're not already there. The Hope ceremony for our virtual, I pre-record, or had our guests pre-record all of the Hope ceremony, but for our future relays, I think we should stream that because it's a key feature of Relay and close to the heart of participants. But because of the time of day, it's not always easy for people to make it to the event, or if they're undergoing treatment, lots of circumstances. So by live streaming it, the candlelight would allow more people to be part of that special event. For instance, like Hope at Home and other similar events during the isolation has really helped to keep people connected. We could also, we thought, pre-sell the Hope bags to our team captains. You may have noticed some of the decorated Hope bags in our video, so participants could decorate them ahead of time, or they could use them for their virtual streamed event at home. Head shaves can be used, a live streaming of head shaves might increase the awareness and hopefully boost fundraising. Team information nights would also be another thing we could stream. It's not always easy for people to get to these after hours events. So for instance, the initial team night could be virtual. This would be where you'd be giving your newcomers an overview of the event. You could also have a virtual event around fundraising ideas for teams. So thank you for tuning in to hear about our virtual relay today. Before we take questions, we'd like to show you a message we received during our virtual relay.
Thank you, ladies. So we might go straight to Rashmead just to check in and see whether or not we have any questions for the Hills ladies.
Thanks, Denise, and thanks, Lynn and Bev. It was, another really inspiring relay, and congratulations to you. There is just one question here. Look, we don't have any questions for the ladies specifically for Hills, but I do have a question here that wasn't able to be asked beforehand. Kelvin, if you're all still there, do you want to ask your question maybe just to one particular relay about fundraising?
Sure. I'll probably direct this to maybe whoever fundraised the most. In regards to fundraising, what was your top source of fundraising and all top sources? And what was the sort of, I guess, well, yeah, go from there.
Kelvin, I'll jump in and very quickly. Our top source of fundraising, again, it came from team initiatives. It came from team engagement. It came from fundraising us within the community. If you look at our website right now, it says about 82 grand on it. We're very and then with sponsorship, we land on about 130 grand. Now, we know that all relays are different shapes, sizes, and ages. We're very fortunate that we have a solid sponsorship base down here in the Sutherland area, and that local businesses decide that they want to allocate some of their marketing spend towards our events. So yeah, I think all but one sponsor decided to continue to pay their invoice this year, and that we would bundle rather the 2020 and the 2021 event together. I did this in a bid to try and keep them engaged and for them to commit to the 2021 event, really. So they were getting a 2-for-1 deal with the idea that they were going to sign on for the 21 event. So, but it was still certainly team fundraising, like all of our great relaying community goes out there and makes asks of their friends, families, and networks.
All right, guys, I think because of time issues, we might finish the questions there. Thank you. On behalf of all of us, I'd like to say thank you, Corowa, Rutherglen, Sutherland and Hills, for leading the way in innovation and inspiring all of us to think outside of the box. You all have done an amazing job. So thank you very much. I'm sure there'll be questions later that can be answered, but we would like now just to finish off tonight's session with Menti. So we want to get your feedback for these seminars on topics of discussion you would find helpful. So I'd like to invite Natalia back just to explain how Menti works. We'll get this done very quickly, everyone. So over to you, Natalia.
Thanks, Janice. So if everyone can jump onto their internet browser and go on to www.menti.com, you'll be asked to enter in a code, which is 417811. For those of you that are just using the one device, just minimize Zoom. So open up your Internet Explorer or your Google Chrome. And then again, that website is www.menti.com. The code is 417811. And once you jump online, you'll see, a series of, a question, and this is live. So whatever answer you put in, it's actually going to pop up on the screen. The first question is, what will you take away from today's session to implement at your relay? So feel free to start entering in. I'll shout them out as they come through. So we've got great virtual ideas, sponsorship details, virtual team info night, preparation is the key, Facebook shouts, the ideas to implement a virtual event, prepare early, ideas for streaming the event online, how to do a good virtual relay, learning from what didn't work so well, technology, and it's only limited by imagination. Great one, who put that in? A positive attitude, we can do this, I love that one. Use social media, pre-sell the hope bags. What else? Content creation. Virtual fundraising session, adapting on the spot, plan B and C and D. Okay, so I'm just going to give it 5 more seconds if anyone wants to put in any last minute ideas, and then I'm going to go on to the next question. Remember, relay key components, involve the community and the teams. Take on the new ideas, recommendations and great stories back to our communities. Thinking outside the box, survivors and carers pack to be delivered. And I think there was 2 more that I saw. Live stream from relay. All relays are different but special. And there's more than one way to get through roadblocks. All right, so I'm going to jump onto the next question. Oh, Zoom, somebody's just put in there. Thanks, guys. They're all great takeaways to implement at your end relays. So the next question I'd like to know is, we'd like to know rather, what topics would you like to see in future webinars? And you can add more than one topic. So I suppose even just going back from the last question, which is what you're going to take away, there's definitely a lot of ideas there that we can probably focus on for future webinars. Okay, so we've got fundraising, committee recruitment, team retention, how to increase sponsorship, fundraising tips, virtual fundraising, more info regarding online relays, tips for approaching sponsors, sponsorships, team recruitment, fundraising packages other relays use. Some great topics in there. Launches and team info nights, and I suppose that's not that doesn't have to be virtual. That can be, you know, hopefully this whole isolation is going to be finished shortly. Fundraising in an increasingly cluttered area, very true. Building teams, sponsorship packages, community involvement maybe. Ideas on what other relays do throughout the day and night. It's always a good one. Tech training. And even with the tech training, I suppose you can always learn from other relays. You know, if Sutherland has got all the techies, and Hills by the sounds of it. Information and training for committees around WHS and risk. Helping and encouraging teams to fundraise. All right, so 5 seconds left, and then I'll jump on to the next question. Keeping it fresh. There was a gentleman from Casino who some of you guys might have missed out on hearing. He came up early and he said Casino's 20 years running now, so one of the oldest ones. Definitely might come up with some good ideas to keeping that fresh. Connecting mission to relay. Alternative ways of working with committees and Cancer Council, and ways to bring in the wider communities. Creating content. Excellent. I'm just going to jump on to the next one because this is quite important. And then after this, we've got one more question, which is a multiple choice. So this question is obviously, how can these webinars be improved? Is it too long, too short? Do we want it to be more interactive? Can food be involved?
No one should say get rid of Denise.
More committee members and teams speaking. Yep, taken on board. This one was great. Oh, thank you very much. More team captains speaking to trim their point of view. I don't know what that was, but I think it's great. Thank you. More interactive. 90 minutes would be good. Yeah, that's a good. I mean, I know this one was a little bit rushed. I kind of felt it as well, but offering them at different times during the day. Consider using the breakout room feature on Zoom, possibility. Good length of time. I have enjoyed them. Great. They are recorded for those that can't make it. Thank you for whoever put chocolate. I don't know who that was, but that was great. Pre-questions. Better communications through to teams and participants, bigger lead time, workshopping ideas. Sorry, let me just go back. Okay, let me just scroll that along. Better communications, yep, well done. I agree, more chocolate, less topics, more detail. Well done on starting this great new initiative. Rotate the meeting times around. Yep, perfect. So just the next question, which is the last one, is all about the timing. So our next session is actually going to be on Wednesday, the 8th of July, and we do have a couple of options there. So, you know, what's your preference? 8 a.m. till 9 a.m. for those early morning starters. We've got a 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. and then we have the 5:30 p.m. till 6:30 p.m. And it's interesting to see, obviously, those of you that can't see, at the moment we've got 15 people that have answered, and it's going up to 74% for the 5:30 till 6:30. So that's obviously the most popular time.
So I'd say that looking at this, this time is the best time for everyone, but we will look at other options. Look, that's it for our second webinar. We're running a bit late, but hopefully you've enjoyed the session. I hope you found today as informative and inspirational as I did. There's some amazing people out there doing some amazing things. We'll be reviewing the feedback and suggestions for future topics, But in the meantime, put the Wednesday, the 8th of July in your diaries, because that will be the third webinar in the series. And it looks like it will be at 5:30, but that will be confirmed. We will be making the link of the recording of this session available shortly. I would like to say a special thanks to Renee and Natalia for their support in putting these seminars together, and Rashmi for leading the way. Thank you for your ongoing support, everyone. I hope you enjoy it. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks, everyone. Make sure you share the link. Oh, you can unmute everyone now if you like.
Thanks, Denise, and thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.